Part 83. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi-Sing Cao. Chapter 823. 821. When He Tian came out, she heard them saying that they wanted to see the newly built shop. "Let's go, let me change some clothes and let's go take a look." He Tian couldn't wait any longer. These two shops cost her most of her savings. Xiewu drove and the group went to a shop near Bihai Park. "Mom, it's the newly built one in front," Huo Yingji said. "The outside has been finished, and the inside is being renovated now." Zhang Lifang's eyes widened. After getting out of the car, she walked from beginning to end, measured it with her steps, and said, Tian, Yingji, this shop is at least 100 meters long." He Tian nodded and said, "Yes, I originally liked the shop here because of its location and shape. It can build many shops. Because it is surrounded by antiques, I specially invited Huashan to help us design it. So these shops and their surroundings are not out of place. Okay, if you wait 10 or 8 years for these shops, the prices will double." Zhang Lifang is also knowledgeable, and this 3-story antique shop is worth a lot of money. Huo Yingji pointed not far away and said with a smile, "Mom, look, here is the commercial district and residential area, and over there is the most famous antique street, so Huashan suggested that some shops be opened here and antique shops should be opened." "Well, a good idea," He Tian said. "I also understand Huashan's idea. This is possible." Zhang Lifang wanted to go in and take a look, but was held back by Huo Yingji. "Mom, it's being renovated inside and there's sawdust everywhere." "You'd better not go," Huo Yingji said. "When you and your father come over during the Chinese New Year, it will be ready for business. You can come over and take a look." "Mom, we have another place." He Tian changed the subject. "Although the entrance to the courtyard is not as good as this one, it faces the street and is long enough, a full 130 meters, and He Tian over there are 5 layers of sweetness. If you don't have enough shop, you can rent it out. It's all money." Zhang Lifang became even more excited when she thought that there was another place. Oh my God, although these were all in He Tian's name, they would not belong to her grandchildren in the future. 2%? Giving Song Chunli and Zhao Huan a total of 20% of the shares was a bit too much. Zhang Lifang is in pain. When she got there, Zhang Lifang was silent when she saw so many shops. After making a lot of money outside and having dinner at home, Zhang Lifang couldn't wait to find He Tian and Huo Yingji to discuss tomorrow's affairs. "Tian, I saw it today. These shops are very valuable. If you can give them 20% of the shares, it's already a lot. If they ask for more, you can refuse verbally. The rest, you can don't talk about it. Let me tell you," Zhang Lifang said. "Also, you are partnering with Sanfan Kiao braised pork and pastry shop, but not all shops, you know." He Tian was stunned for a moment, then understood what her mother-in-law meant, nodded, and said, "Yes, and I want to limit the scope to Sanfan Kiao in Yanjing. Maybe I will open a branch in the future, and then I will share 20% of them. Here. What I want to emphasize is that they only have the right to distribute dividends, not management rights. However, they can send people to supervise the finances, but they only supervise the finances and do not have the right to intervene in the finances. No matter how well you say it, it's better to put it on paper," Huo Yingji said. "It's best to get a contract and write it clearly in black and white. There will be no need to talk about it in the future because of the shop." He Tian smiled and said, "I've already prepared a contract. I'll get it. You can help me take a look." He Tian went in, took out the contract, and then handed it to her mother-in-law Zhang Lifang and asked her to look at it. After Zhang Lifang looked carefully up and down, she was shocked. She was indeed a businessman from her mother's family. This contract was so perfect that all kinds of situations had been thought of. "What you wrote is very comprehensive. I have nothing to add," Zhang Lifang said. I will ask my sister-in-law to sign according to this contract tomorrow. If she doesn't sign, I will not agree to give her 20% of the shares. Thank you for your hard work, moms. He Tian smiled and said that although there may be some embarrassment tomorrow, she is not the main evil person and the pressure is relatively small. Haha, it's nothing. I did it for our big family. Zhang Lifang said. Hey, Song Chunli is not happy, so we will come back. Anyway, we have our own family. Not long after your father-in-law and I got married, we went. I have to work somewhere and only come back during the Chinese New Year. In front of my mother-in-law, your aunt is better off, but if my mother-in-law is not here, if your eldest aunt has a dispute with me, she will lose face, and she will almost tell you not to be there. Get out of my house. The following days were difficult and unstable, and we never bought a house. Even if we were angry, we had nowhere to go. Hearing what her mother-in-law said, Huo Yingzhe, He Tian felt a little sad. Mom, it's all over. He Tian said, we will get better and better in the future. Well, yes, Zhang Lifang said, I have never been a good housekeeper. From now on, you will be in charge of all matters in our home. The reason why you have no energy is because you put all your energy into your work. You are the best doctor in the hospital. He Tian did not dare to agree, even though she earned the main expenses of the family. As for being the head of the family, Yingzhe and I are still young and cannot afford to be the head of this family. I won't bother you about small things. I make the decision. Big things still need to be decided by you and your father-in-law. Haha, okay, Zhang Lifang smiled. Regardless of whether she is a master or not, Zhang Lifang is always very happy when she is respected by her juniors. The three of them had already discussed it. The next morning, Huo Yingzhe took Zhang Ning to work and asked Xie Wu to drive them to the Huo family's old house. Zhang Lifang and He Tian held their luggage in both hands, and their children were jumping in front of them. Mrs. Huo knew from Huo Yingzhe that Zhang Lifang and He Tian would be arriving in the next few days, but she didn't know the specific day. Dad, Mom, are you okay? Zhang Lifang put down the things in her hands and hurried forward. Mrs. Huo was pruning flowers in the yard. When she saw Zhang Lifang and He Tian coming, she was very happy and said, they are all here. Come on, come inside and sit down. He Tian, the children all started to greet Mrs. Huo and Mr. Huo. After arriving and sitting down in the house, Mrs. Huo asked, has the house over there been tidied up? If so, wait until the weekend and you can set up a table, and we will warm up the pot for you. Well, I also have this plan. Zhang Lifang said, by the way, sister-in-law, Huan has gone to work, right? Yes, we have all gone to work. Mrs. Huo said, although I am a little reluctant to let you go, but the tree will branch out, which is inevitable. After thinking about it, I am relieved. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 824. 822. Although she was a little melancholy, Mrs. Dang Huo has always been an open-minded person, and there was a more informal Mr. Huo by her side to persuade her, so she completely thought about it. The great-grandchildren are already so old, and if they get together, there will definitely be a lot of conflicts. Instead of living apart from each other if there is a lot of quarrels, it is better to separate while everyone is in harmony without destroying the relationship. Grandma, my brother Yingzhe will often bring his children to greet you and honor you. He Tian smiled and added at the right time to show the filial piety of the younger generation. Okay, they are all good children. Mrs. Huo said, by the way, Tian, your aunt and Huan are not here. I want to ask about the stock participation in the shop. I learned from Huan, Tian, I'm going to give 10% to Huan, and I guess I'll give 10% to your eldest aunt as well, right? Well, yes, Grandma, that's what I planned. He Tian chuckled, Grandma, isn't it unreasonable? It's not unreasonable. Mrs. Huo shook her head. You can decide how many shares you want. I don't care. The palms and backs of my hands are full of flesh. I can't buy a second house to subsidize a big house. I just want to say that my brothers will settle the accounts clearly and settle the accounts in advance. Some agreements are written down in black and white, which may not look good at first, but there will be less conflicts in the future. When Zhang Lifang heard what her mother-in-law said, she finally felt relieved. She was not afraid of Song Chunli, but she was afraid that if her elders came forward to ask for more shares, then she would be angry and noisy, and it would be best if she would not be left behind. Mom, we think so too, Zhang Lifang said. Tian, didn't you draft a document before and show it to your grandmother to give her some opinions? The main thing when I came here today was to pass the test of my mother-in-law and let her take a look at the terms. If her mother-in-law didn't have any objections, Song Chunli wouldn't worry about it. Okay, Madame Huo took out her reading glasses from the side. Here, let me take a look. Tian took it out and presented the contract to Mrs. Huo with both hands. Mrs. Huo looked at it carefully from top to bottom. Her expression became more and more serious, and she couldn't help being secretly frightened. Alas, what a pity, the two shrewd ones went to the second room. Zhang Lifang was originally shrewd, acted grandly, took the overall situation into consideration, and was not as knowledgeable as Song Chunli. In ancient times, that was a good candidate for the wife of a large family. Unexpectedly, Tian was also thoughtful and could produce such a document. Da Fang agreed that he would have 20% of all profits from Sanfan Bridge in Yanjing from now on, and nothing else. But even the 20%, if they were not biological brothers, the second bedroom would not be given to the elder bedroom. Be content and not be greedy. Mrs. Huo can understand, but Song Chunli may not. Well, very good, just follow the above, Mrs. Huo said. By the way, it doesn't say how much your Aunt Huan wants to pay. It's best to write it down. Actually, I didn't want my sister-in-law and aunt to pay. After all, we are a family. We can't let the second brother make a fortune while the first brother watches. Tian smiled and said, I told my parents-in-law, they all agree to do this, not because of the money issue, but because the eldest brother and uncle are both in official careers. Even brothers must figure out money matters clearly, so as not to make a fuss about it in the future and cause more trouble. Yes, that's the truth, Mrs. Huo said, this is one of them. On the other hand, I will make up for you. If you get other people's things without spending any money, it will not be good to form a habit in the future. As the saying goes, if you give more, others may not be very grateful to you. Tian wanted to applaud her grandmother. No wonder her mother-in-law had always been very respectful to her grandmother and did not dare to be disrespectful at all. What grandma said is that Tian has learned a lesson. Tian said, Brother Yingjia and I will discuss it and we will receive 40,000 yuan from my sister-in-law and aunt for the last share. The two of them will have a total of 80,000 yuan. If not, I'll lend it to them first. As expected, what Zhao Huan said was similar. Mrs. Huo nodded and said, okay, the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law can still get the 80,000 yuan together. When the time comes, let them get 20% of the dividends. Mom, you also know my sister-in-law's temper. What if she doesn't agree and asks for more shares? Zhang Lifang knew Song Chunli and her sister-in-law would do such a thing, so she raised the issue directly. In other words, Zhang Lifang knew Song Chunli, and Mrs. Huo knew Song Chunli even better. Mrs. Huo smiled and said, if she doesn't agree, I'll tell her. I looked at the amount of investment here, 5 million. They took 80,000 yuan and got 20% of the shares, which is already a lot. It's them take advantage. If you take advantage and it's not enough, then there's no need to continue. That's all up to you, Zhang Lifang said. As long as the mother-in-law can carry it clearly, the sister-in-law will not be able to jump up. At noon, Zhang Lifang and He Tiantian had lunch with the old couple and went back in the afternoon. The day after tomorrow is the weekend, and Zhang Lifang is going to retreat and invite people to her home to warm up the pot. Tiantian, tomorrow I will take you to visit your grandmother and grandfather, Zhang Lifang said. Since it is hot pot, we can't just invite people from the Huo family, but also the Zhang family. As for He Tianation's natal family, they are all abroad. But it's not nothing, there are Qi Xiaoyan, Niu Dajin, and their family. Huashan can be regarded as half. Okay, He Tiantian said, I will visit relatives with you tomorrow. The children can hang out more and recognize their relatives. Zhang Lifang was very happy to see her daughter-in-law getting close to her natal family, and said, yes, we can only kiss relatives when they have to move around. Since then, I have been out of town and can't visit my parents often, which makes me feel uneasy. Tiantian, are you and Yingzhe here? Yanjing, go take a look when you have time, just think of it as helping me. Mom, I can. He Tiantian agreed, just to buy some things to check out. Besides, she also liked cousin Wenwen. The next day, the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law took their two children to visit their parents. The Zhang family was very happy to see Zhang Lifang coming and entertained them warmly. Zhang Wenwen took He Tiantian and the child to her room and asked her grandmother to talk to her aunt. Mom, I want to tell you that we have moved out of the Huo family to the new house we bought. It will be a day off tomorrow, and you, Dad, and the eldest brother's family will come over for dinner. Zhang Lifang said, she could finally follow her own rules. I am ready to entertain my mother-in-law's family. Mrs. Zhang smiled and said, okay, it's better to move out. You will come back sooner or later, it is not good to be crowded in the Huo family's old house all the time. Instead of getting embarrassed and moving later, it is better to move early. Well, yes, Zhang Lifang said, the house at home is very big, and my mother can live with me in the future. Haha, okay, Mrs. Zhang said, you have been shrewd since you were a child, and you are also a lucky person. Your life is so good, and your father and I can rest assured. Recommended by my friend CNK's masterpiece The Reborn Movie Queen Xia Jun's Wife. The Reborn Movie Queen Xia Jun's wife has good cheating and abuse skills. Raising a loyal dog and a good husband will break my small waist. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 825. Her mother's words touched Zhang Lifang's heart. Anyway, everything is going well for me now, Zhang Lifang said, I'm just worried about your and father's health. You have a headache and fever, and I can't be around to take care of you. As a daughter, Zhang Lifang has always felt guilty about not being able to stay with her parents. Hey, don't worry about us. Your eldest brother and sister-in-law are both good. The children are also filial and sensible, Mrs. Zhang said, we also have pensions. There is nothing to worry about. We eat well and sleep soundly. You are in good health. Zhang Lifang felt happier after hearing her mother's words. After that, the mother and daughter chatted some more privately, and did not come out of the house until lunch. Let's say that He Tiantian was talking to Zhang Wenwen in the room. How is your job after graduating from college? He Tiantian asked. Zhang Wenwen started working this year. It's not bad, I'm a teacher in a high school, Zhang Wenwen said, the salary is enough for me, and it's easy every day. By the way, what do you teach? He Tiantian asked. He and Zhang Wenwen usually chatted about some gossip about Yanjing, but they didn't even think of asking about Zhang Wenwen's work. Haha, I teach art, Zhang Wenwen said, I also teach students how to draw. Don't you like painting? He Tiantian asked, looking at Zhang Wenwen, who said she lacked interest in work. I like to draw, but I also know that I can't become a painter, so when I was in college, I started to study fashion design. However, my family didn't let me design clothes, saying that they were made by tailors, and it would be better to be a teacher. Jiang Wenwen bitterly she said with a face that the designs she drew could only be kept at the bottom of the box and could not be turned into beautiful clothes. He Tianation's eyes lit up. Fashion designer is a very new profession in country H. Even now, many people don't have such a concept. In most people's minds, that's tailoring. The Zhang family comes from a scholarly family, so naturally they would not agree with their granddaughter doing such a thing. Wenwen, do you really like it? He Tian asked. Zhang Wenwen is a nice person. If she is really capable, she can invest. Well, I like it very much, but my family doesn't agree. I can only be a high school art teacher, teaching students to draw apples and bottles. Zhang Wenwen said distressedly. Sometimes I really want to escape and go to a place where there is no one and be myself. It's something I like to do, but I'm timid and don't dare. He Tian smiled and said, let's do this. You design and make a dress for me. If I'm satisfied, I'll invest in it for you. Ah, Zhang Wenwen's eyes widened. Sister Tian, are you really investing in me? Yes, but the premise is that you must make a piece of clothing that satisfies me. It must be your original work and not plagiarized by others, He Tian said. Although she doesn't understand clothing design, she has many kinds of clothes. And in her previous life, she saw celebrities on TV wearing various clothes, and they were discerning. Zhang Wenwen looked at He Tian up and down, then nodded and said, well, cousin, wait a minute, I will measure you first, and I will definitely give you a good-looking and comfortable dress. Okay, then I'll wait, He Tian said, as long as I like what you do, I will invest in you. Yeah, I'll try my best, Zhang Wenwen said, this is probably my best opportunity, and I will take advantage of it. Don't you ask me what kind of clothes I like, He Tian asked, waiting for Zhang Wenwen to ask. Zhang Wenwen found a measuring tape and said, a successful designer observes with his eyes instead of asking questions with his mouth. I already have a rough idea in my mind. Come on, let's measure the size. At the same time, Zhang Wenwen also wants to use this time to exercise her abilities and see if she is competent. If you can't even impress your cousin, let alone impress other people. Zhang Wenwen took He Tianation's measurements and said in surprise, sister-in-law, I don't think you are fat, but you have a good figure. He Tian was a little embarrassed, it's always been like this after giving birth. Cousin, your waist is so thin, Zhang Wenwen said in surprise, cousin, don't tell me, how can your waist be so thin after giving birth? Haha, He Tian smiled coquettishly. She had a golden finger and it was hard to tell outsiders, but she couldn't be too modest as it would make others even more envious and jealous. Zhang Wenwen dodged He Tianation's slap, I just envy my cousin for his good fortune. Don't be angry, cousin. Okay, if you step back, you need to measure it. Let me measure it and start designing. Next, after a week, I'll send it to you when it's ready. Okay, then I'll wait for you, He Tian smiled, if you can make your own career in something you like, it will be a very happy and fulfilling thing. Yes, Zhang Wenwen said, sister-in-law, that's it. I really like you so much. It would be great if my family were as open-minded as you, and we wouldn't have to draw designs secretly. He Tian thought for a while and said, actually, you can also make a dress for my mother-in-law, your aunt. If it doesn't make sense at home, you can find a solution from outside. Yeah, that's right, Zhang Wenwen said, then I'll go measure my aunt's size later. Zhang Lifang was very happy when she heard that her niece was measuring her and making clothes for her, but Ms. Zhang was a little unhappy. She is just messing around all day long. She is not a good teacher, so she has to become a tailor, Ms. Zhang said unhappy, but seeing that her granddaughter only made clothes for her family, she did not bother to open a tailor shop like before. It's not easy to yell loudly. Mom, don't say that, Zhang Lifang said. Now is the new society. I often see foreign clothing magazines in Tiantian. Oh my, those clothes are very beautiful, and there are good tailors abroad. Then but what is highly respected is not a job that was considered low in the past. Zhang Wenwen, who was listening on the side, felt more and more happy. Her cousin's method was really good. As long as she convinced her aunt and had a helper, she would have a great chance of convincing her family. After He Tiantian and Zhang Lifang returned home, they used their afternoon time to drive directly to the vegetable market, where they bought a lot of ingredients and made 2 trips back and forth. Li Yunzong helped, Huo Yingzhi got off work, and Xie Wu and Zhang Ning helped to sort out various vegetables and prepare half of some big dishes to serve directly tomorrow. As for the others, they have also made preparations and will make a few more tomorrow. Stove, ready for cooking. There is a large refrigerator at home, which is full. When He Tiantian does these things, he can always arrange the home properly, which gives He Tiantian a sense of accomplishment and happiness. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 826. 824. In the evening, when the family enjoyed the cool air together and ate watermelon, Zhang Lifang laughed and said, "Hey, Tiantian, you don't know how secure I feel now that we have our own house." Grandma Wang listened and smiled. She understood what Zhang Lifang meant. Over the years, Zhang Lifang has indeed been wronged. If Zhang Lifang was as fussy as Song Chunli, the family would have been at odds with her brothers, and her parents would be sad and resentful. He Tiantian smiled and said, "I don't think anything else. I just feel that the old house is a bit crowded. There are so many things in our house that we can't put them in. Since we have the conditions, it's good to separate them. It won't be the weekend in the future. Let's go to the old house to visit our grandfather and grandmother, the same thing." "Yes, there is no need to crowd together," Grandma Wang said with a smile. The old lady actually knows in her heart that sometimes as a family, even the elders cannot talk about some things. Zhang Lifang nodded and said, "Yeah, so I think it's good to move out. When I was young, I had to endure it. Now I have grandchildren. If I still have to look at other people's faces, then my life will be called holding back QU. Mom, is there anything else missing at home?" Huo Yingzhi changed the subject. After all, Grandma Wang was here. Mom talked too much, and Grandma Wang might feel uncomfortable. "We're ready, we're just waiting for the banquet tomorrow," Zhang Lifang said. "After the banquet, this will be their home. If we go to the old house in the future, it will have little to do with them." And when Song Chunli heard that He Tiantian was coming, she felt very excited. She scraped here and there, and finally got enough 80,000 yuan, thinking about getting one more stock. "I originally wanted to come alone, but Mrs. Huo stopped me and asked me to wait for the pot to be warmed before talking about business matters." For Song Chunli, these 2 days have been like a year. After finally waiting until the weekend, the whole family rushed to their 2-bedroom home in Maohutong. When she got off the car, she saw the newly painted vermilion door and the yellow-orange lion head door knocker. Mrs. Huo said in surprise, "Oh, this house is so grand. If it had been in the past, it must have been a county prince's palace." "Yes," Mr. Huo said with a smile, "let's go in." Huo Zhe smiled dryly and said, "It's a pity that the second brother didn't come back. If it's right, all 3 generations of our grandparents are here. Let's have a nice drink." "Dad, my son will drink with you," Huo Yingjun said with a smile. "Come on, knock on the door, let's go in and take a look at Yingji's house." Song Chunli was so envious. Just one gate was so grand, and the courtyard inside was more exquisite and spacious. Although Zhao Huan was envious at first, she had a place to live and didn't have many thoughts. Huo Yingzhi inside heard a sound outside and ran out quickly. "Grandfather, grandmother, uncle, aunt, eldest brother, sister-in-law, please come in. Huo Yingji smiled and personally stepped forward to support Mrs. Huo. Zhang Lifang followed, and He Tian also came to say hello. Okay, don't stand here anymore, let's go in, Mr. Huo said, let's take a good look at your yard. After entering the gate, you saw the second gate. It really is an old house, Mrs. Huo said, not bad, not bad, the house is well kept. Mom, let's go inside to talk. It's hot outside, Zhang Lifang said, my parents and eldest brother are here too. They are all waiting for me in the house. Mrs. Huo smiled and said, my in-laws are here too, so I'm going to meet them and have a nice talk. It's been more than half a year since we last met, so I have to talk to my old sisters. After entering the second gate, you arrive at the main courtyard. There were already many people sitting in the living room of the main courtyard. I heard that Mr. Huo and Mrs. Huo had passed by, and the people inside also stood up. After welcoming each other in, they greeted each other. He Tian and Chi Xiao Yan helped greet the guests. Not only the eldest room of the Zhang family came, but also the second room of the Zhang family. Zhang Wenhui looked at the new furniture in the living room with envy. It cost tens of thousands to buy this set. This aunt's family is really rich. Compared to furniture, this big yard costs hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands, for Zhang Wenhui, who only has a monthly salary of 100 or 200, is an astronomical figure. Hey, I have to curry favor with my cousin's sister-in-law from now on. It would be better if my cousin's sister-in-law can bring her to make money together, and she can also buy a good house. The elderly drink tea and chat together. The young people went to chat in the dining room of the east wing on the other side. It's hot outside, scorching the earth. Zhang Wenhui arrived at the dining room and felt very cool. Although there is air conditioning in the large living room, because they are all elderly people, the temperature is turned on higher. It can only be said that it is not hot, not cool. Oh, cousin, you are really enjoying yourself, Zhang Wenhui smiled, it's really cool in here, it's air-conditioned. Zhang Wenwen smiled and said, Sister Wenhui, have some snacks and some watermelon. Thank you Wenwen, Zhang Wenhui said, looking around, cousin, you installed a lot of air conditioners in your yard, didn't you spend a lot of money? Even this month's electricity bill is quite a lot. I just came here, so I don't know about this yet, He Tian said, it's all under the control of the child's father. Oh, why did I forget that my sister-in-law just came to Yanjing, Zhang Wenhui said, cousin-in-law, are you going to settle in Yanjing in the future? Yes, the father's work has been transferred here. It's hard to live in separate places, so he came here, He Tian smiled, chatting with everyone as if talking about family matters. Zhang Wenwen saw that her cousin's eyes kept wandering, and she was probably planning something. Cousin, why didn't my brother-in-law come with you? Zhang Wenwen asked. Usually, my cousin often goes to her parents' home to show off how motivated and capable her husband is, and how quickly he gets promoted. I was originally going to come, but something happened and I had to go to the unit, Zhang Wenwen said. As you know, your brother-in-law works in the Foreign Affairs Department every day and is very busy dealing with those foreigners. That's because you're very busy, Zhang Wenwen said. If you're not busy and don't perform well, how can you get promoted easily? That's right, I think so too, Zhang Wenhui said. Wenwen, you're not young anymore, it's time to talk to your husband's family. By the way, if you can find a good deal, you can bring her back to us to see, let us help the staff. Wenwen, are you friends? He Tian asked. If you meet someone suitable, you can try to get along with her. Not yet, I've been very busy recently, Zhang Wenwen said. She has been busy designing clothes recently, so how can she find time to find a partner? What are you busy with? Your school is on summer vacation, Zhang Wenhui curled her lips and said, suddenly as if she thought of something funny, Wenwen, you won't make all the mess at home again, Do you want to be a tailor? The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 827. 825. Upon hearing this, Jiang Wenwen was furious. Is it okay if I make a dress for myself? Jiang Wenwen said. The reason why her family opposed her doing clothing design was because this cousin said in front of her parents and grandparents all day long that tailors were just serving people and were messy. Of old feudalism. Jiang Wenwen felt aggrieved when she thought that her cousin always wore clothes made by herself. The styles were quite unique and looked better than those made by her in the tailor shop. Yes, of course you can. Making your own clothes is a matter of ingenuity, Jiang Wenhui said. By the way, I think this dress on you looks very nice. I have a piece of fabric there, so you can make one too. No time, Jiang Wenwen refused directly. I have to go to the children's palace to take classes recently, so I don't have time to make clothes. You must be stingy, Jiang Wenhui said angrily. We are a family. I always think of you when I have good things to do. Why don't you make me some clothes? It's nothing, Jiang Wenwen said. You don't remember the clothes I made for you last time. After you put them on, you said that I made them bad for you and wasted a piece of fabric. If they were really bad, it would be fine. It wouldn't look good. Why are you still wearing it all day long? Jiang Wenwen just doesn't like people like Jiang Wenhui who don't cherish the fruits of other people's labor. Jiang Wenhui still wanted to say something, but he Tian smiled and said, Wenwen, are you going to the children's palace to teach children art? Yes, there are quite a few children inside, Jiang Wenwen replied, suddenly remembering that this was not at home, but at her cousin's house. Today's cousin is warming up the hot pot, which is a great event. It was too rude for her to quarrel with her cousin. She will find an opportunity to apologize to her cousin later. Oh, besides art, are there any other interest classes? He Tian asked. My children, as well as Sister Xiao Yan's children, are all grown up. They are naughty at home, so they want to send them to interest classes. Jiang Wenwen's head was full of black lines and she said, Cousin, they are going to Yuheng class, not an interest class. They are too young. The children there are about 10 years old and can take care of themselves. Your children have to go to the toilet. Follow them, they won't be accepted there. Oh, so that's it, he Tian said, then we can send it to you when it is older. When Zhang Lifang saw he Tian and Jiang Wenwen chatting happily, she felt it was boring, so she said hello and left. At this time Qi Xiao Yan came in. Where is the child? He Tian asked. She was busy greeting the guests just now and left the child to Qi Xiao Yan. They are all playing in that toy room, Qi Xiao Yan said. There are many children and there are many toys, so we don't need adults to play with them. Then you come over and let's chat. He Tian smiled and said, Xiao Yan, this is Yingjia's cousin Jiang Wenwen. Wenwen, this is my good sister, Qi Xiao Yan, who is currently studying at the Huaxia Conservatory of Music. Oh, Sister Xiao Yan is so awesome, Jiang Wenwen praised. She has a nice voice and a good-looking person. Thank you, Qi Xiao Yan said. You look good too. By the way, where did you buy the dress you're wearing? It's very good looking. Seeing Qi Xiao Yan complimenting her clothes, Jiang Wenwen was very happy. She was even happier than praising her for her good looks. She hurriedly asked, Really? Do you think it looks good too? It looks good, it really looks good, Qi Xiao Yan said. The collar of your dress is very special. It doesn't want the round collar we usually have, but a triangle collar, and it has 3/4 sleeves. The pants are 3/4 pants, which is good looking and also it's cool. Also, you should wear ruffles this time, it looks cute and cute. Jiang Wenwen seemed to have found a close friend and said, You're right. I designed and made this myself. In the eyes of my family, this lovely ruffle is a waste of material and unnecessary. Chi Xiao Yan's eyes lit up when she heard that Zhang Wenwen made the clothes herself. She couldn't afford He Tianation's clothes sent from abroad and didn't dare to think about it, but it shouldn't cost much to find someone to make some unique clothes. From Chi Xiao Yan's expression, He Tian knew what Chi Xiao Yan was thinking, and probably wanted Zhang Wenwen to make clothes. Wenwen, you are so awesome, Chi Xiao Yan praised. I bought some fabrics, can you make one for me? I can give you wages. Someone appreciated her craftsmanship, and Zhang Wenwen was very happy and said, I don't want the wages. Bring me the fabric and I will make it for you. When I open a shop in the future, I will collect the money from you. Thank you so much, Chi Xiao Yan said. There is no charge, she can give some gifts to Zhang Wenwen. Wenwen, if we don't call it a tailor shop now, let's call it a clothing design studio, He Tian said. You can customize it for others, or you can design it yourself and find a factory to process it and open a store to sell clothes. Hearing He Tianation's words, Zhang Wenwen's eyes lit up and she said, yes, yes, we need a clothing design studio. The tailor shop is indeed a bit rustic. The three of them had a common language and were chatting and laughing in the room. Afterwards, He Tian looked at the time and saw that it was time to cook, so she went to the kitchen to help. There were so many people that things were easy to do, so a total of 2 large banquet tables and a small table were set up. There is a table for men and a table for women. The children are 4 or 5 or 6 years old and can eat by themselves, so some food suitable for children is set aside and divided into one table for the children to eat together. After drinking and eating, the old people were a little sleepy, so He Tian arranged for them to rest. After sleeping for more than an hour, everyone gathered together to chat and laugh. Ms. Zhang was very happy to see that her daughter had a house. There are some things that Ms. Zhang knows but cannot say, but she will finally not be as worried as before. Ms. Huo was also very sad. No wonder the second roommate didn't want to stay in the old house. If you have a big house, who wants to squeeze in with others? However, Ms. Huo is also very happy. As long as her son and grandson are well, that is better than anything else. Song Chunli wanted to talk to He Tian several times about the contract, but seeing that people from the Zhang family were there, she said now that it was really inappropriate, so she had to endure it. At 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Ms. Zhang saw that it was getting late, so she began to say goodbye and left one after another. The rest are all members of the Huo family. Seeing He Tian busy cutting the watermelon, Song Chunli said hurriedly, Tian, the watermelon will be cut later. Let's go to the house and talk about your shop. When will it open? He Tian put down the watermelon knife in her hand and said with a smile, it will probably be ready in another month. 1 month, Song Chunli was overjoyed. Then you said you would give us some shares, how did you divide them? He Tian washed her hands and said, since Aunt asked, it saves me a special trip to the old house. I have already drawn up the contract. If you think it is suitable, you can buy shares. Okay, let me see, Song Chunli said. By the way, Tian, can you share more of the shares? As you know, we all have a big mouth and want money everywhere. It's too little and there's no point in doing it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 828. 826. She didn't want to push it back anymore. If she had done these things earlier, she could open the store with confidence. He Tian smiled and said, Auntie, let's take a look at the contract before talking. Song Chunli followed He Tian into the study. Zhao Huan was taking care of the children outside, so she didn't want to get into trouble. Anyway, she had 40,000 yuan in hand, and He Tian Tian had promised her 10% of the shares before. The mother-in-law is obviously not satisfied, and there will definitely be a quarrel. If Zhao Huan passed by, he would really feel uncomfortable. When Zhang Lifang saw Song Chunli pulling He Tian Tian away, she put the child aside and followed in. Zhao Huan acted as if he hadn't seen it and looked after his younger son who couldn't walk yet. Seeing that Zhao Huan didn't get involved, Mrs. Huo felt a little relieved and let them handle it themselves. Over there, He Tian Tian took Song Chunli to a clean room nearby. He Tian Tian took the contract and said, "Auntie, sit down and watch slowly. I'll get you a cup of tea." "No, please sit down too, I'm not thirsty." Song Chunli quickly stopped her, lest He Tian Tian would not come in again and she would have to call again. Seeing this, He Tian Tian had no choice but to sit next to Song Chunli. Song Chunli took the contract and read it from beginning to end with a bad look on her face. After a while, Song Chunli looked at He Tian Tian with a look of displeasure and asked, "Tian Tian, you can only give me 10% of the shares, but you can't participate in the business. With such small shares, what kind of profit can you make in the future? Besides, you are young. I'm sorry, I need help from adults to do things. I'm going to retire soon and I'll help you manage it. Are you still worried that your eldest aunt will be greedy for your money?" He Tian Tian smiled and said, 10% of the shares is already my greatest sincerity, and my sister-in-law also has 10%. Calculated this way, I have already given up 20%, and I only charge you 40,000 yuan each, instead of 500,000 each. This is my greatest sincerity to my aunt and sister-in-law. 500,000 per achievement. Song Chunli was stunned, and looked at the total investment amount again. "You are opening a gold shop. With so much money, are you lying to me?" He Tian Tian smiled and said, "It's absolutely true. How could you lie to auntie? I plan to open 5 or 6 shops like this in Yanjing. When the time comes, auntie will be able to share it, so I can only give 10%. 1%, although it's a little less, I won't argue with you as an elder." Song Chunli said, "As for management, as I said just now, I will retire soon and can help you manage it. It is better than leaving it to outsiders. It's more reliable." "No," He Tian Tian said firmly, "now that aunt is retired, it would be great to cultivate her health at home and entertain her grandchildren. Why bother getting involved in these things? It's very hard." Hearing this, Song Chunli was unhappy and said, "I'm in good health, and I also want to manage it." "That's it?" "No," He Tian Tian said, "this is my private property. Thank you for your hard work, auntie." "You kid, why are you so hard to talk to?" Song Chunli said, "If you don't let me manage you, it proves that you don't trust me. Then are we still a family?" "Of course we are a family, otherwise I wouldn't give you and my sister-in-law 20% of the shares. I just want to make money with you," He Tian Tian said, making it very clear. The words were not polite at all, but He Tian Tian kept smiling gently. No matter what happened to Song Chunli, she was not annoyed anyway. Song Chunli's breath kept getting thicker. Finally, in order to open the shop, she took a few deep breaths, squeezed out an ugly smile, and said, "Niece-in-law, since you said it is your private property, if you want to see me outside, my eldest aunt is as thick-skinned as she can be. I'm too embarrassed to help, lest you say I want to occupy your shop." "Well, thank you for your understanding, auntie," He Tian Tian said. Song Chunli would not acquiesce so easily. She should have other requests. Song Chunli smiled and said, "You are considerate, how can you not be considerate? Since you don't let me manage it, I am also a little worried, just like your concerns. How about this, you give me another 20% of the shares, a total of 30%, I promise you I won't argue with you." "Ah," He Tian Tian was stunned. This Song Chunli really dared to speak like a lion. Before, He Tian Tian guessed that Song Chunli might ask for more shares, but at most 20%, but they were lucky enough to ask for 30%. Including Zhao Huanhuan's, it accounted for 40%. As a result, their big house got 80,000 yuan and wanted half of the shares, and he Tian, managed it, so she had to do all the work. Just when he Tian was about to retort, Zhang Lifang came and said with a smile, "Sister-in-law is so courageous. In that case, let's keep things official. The total investment is 5 million, 100% of the shares are 500,000, you want 30% if you want shares, first take out 1.5 million, and I will make the decision to let Tian give you 30% of the shares." 1.5 million, why don't you go rob the bank? Song Chunli said angrily, this is Tianation's private property. Tian and I will talk about it later. The second brother and sister should not come over to interfere. If the second brother and sister behave like this, I will go and curry favor with my second younger brother and sister. When he Tian saw her mother-in-law coming, she stopped talking and listened carefully to what they were saying. Zhang Lifang was not angry, and said with a smile, "Sister-in-law, please tell me, why are you angry? He Tianation's surname is He. If she doesn't marry my son and is not my daughter-in-law, what does it have to do with you, a person named Song?" Zhang Lifang, why are you talking like that? No matter what you say, I am also your sister-in-law, Song Chunli said angrily, you have just moved out and you are disrespectful to my sister-in-law. Your wings have really grown hard. If sister-in-law understands this way, that's fine. Anyway, I don't care. Zhang Lifang didn't refute. She had long disliked Song Chunli's behavior. I was offended before, but I won't tolerate it anymore. I asked Tian to draft this contract. If you agree, I will call Huan over to sign it together. If you don't agree, then I will also call Huan over to sign. That Da Fang only has 10% of the shares. Besides, if she is unwilling and wants more shares and is not greedy enough, then she will get nothing. Zhang Lifang took the matter on herself. Anyway, the conflict between her and Song Chunli was not that big. Hello, you Zhang Lifang, Song Chunli said, I'm going to talk to my mother-in-law to reason with you. Are you so disrespectful of my feelings? Haha, go ahead. I've shown this contract to my mother-in-law first, and she has no objection. Even if she prefers the big house, she won't take this thing from my house to fill the big house. Besides, that's it. We gave you the 20% because we cared about the big house. You think we care about your tens of thousands of dollars? We would still open the shop without you taking the money. Zhang Lifang's words showed her attitude. Song Chunli paused after hearing this. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 829. 827. The family is very happy that the two families can open a shop together. As for the number of shares, no one cares. They all know that the second room will not treat them badly. But it's only 20% of the shares, which is too little. My mother-in-law is outside, and everyone in the two houses is outside. If she goes out crying now and says that the shares are too few, no one had to ask, even Huozhe, that fool, could give her a slap in the face. I really underestimated you. Song Chunli smiled, you mother-in-law and daughter-in-law are really good at calculating. Not as good as my sister-in-law, Zhang Lifang said with a smile, sign it or not, it's up to you. Anyway, you just have to think it through within 3 days, otherwise you won't regret it after the shop opens. Let me think about it again. After Song Chunli finished speaking, she went out angrily. When they got outside, although Song Chunli's face was a little ugly, she couldn't keep her face down in front of everyone. When Madame Huo saw Song Chunli coming out, she said, it's getting late, it's time to go back. Grandma, let's go after dinner, Huo Yingji said, anyway, we have dinner early, and we'll be ready in 2 hours. No, One meal is enough. If you want to eat another meal, I'll have 2 warm pot meals. I'm afraid I'll make you poor with extra food, Madame Huo said with a smile, and led the Huo family's eldest family in an unruly manner. Gone. After arriving at home, Song Chunli waited for her father-in-law and husband to go to the room, then went to find her mother-in-law. Mother-in-law, have you read the contract that the second brother and sister mentioned? Song Chunli asked, a bit anxious on her face. Yes, Mrs. Huo nodded, I saw it. What's the matter? Just give us 20%, which is too little, Song Chunli said. Mom, the second bedroom is already very rich, why don't you help us? If things were like this now, then Zhang Lifang would just push her nose and face. When the gap becomes bigger and bigger in the future, then Zhang Lifang would not take her seriously. Are you young? Mrs. Huo asked expressionlessly. Of course it's less. If we earn 100 yuan, we can only get 20 yuan, Song Chunli said. We don't want half, at least 40%. It can't be too different from the second room. Mrs. Huo looked at Song Chunli blankly and said, if someone doesn't give you 10%, why don't you still call me young master? After all, we are also a family. You and your father are still here, so the second wife can't be so ruthless, Song Chunli argued. She just wanted to get more from others, not how much she had to pay. Haha, now you think of us as a family, Mrs. Huo sneered. Tell me, how much money are you prepared to pay to ask for 40% of the shares? Song Chunli's face was ugly and she hesitated, saying, I have 80,000 in my hand, and Huan probably has 40,000 as well. Do you know how much that share costs? Mrs. Huo asked again. Speak carefully and I will listen carefully. It says the total investment is 5 million, but it's not that much. It must have been made randomly by the second roommate, who just didn't want to give us more shares. Song Chunli argued that she didn't believe He Tian had so much money. But it suddenly occurred to me that He Tian's mother-in-law was a big foreign capitalist. With so much money, it was possible. Then Tian wants to open several shops in Yanjing, Mrs. Huo said, so much money may not be enough. If you are so greedy and offend them, I will not intercede with you. Then don't, it's 40%, not even 10%. Mom, is it really not possible? Song Chunli said, then we occupy 30% of the big house. Mom, please help us. Haha, I'm biased. I'm shameless enough to ask for the 10%, but if I get the shares, my second son's family will be separated from me. Do you think I would do such a thing? Mrs. Huo said, anyway there is no shortage of food and drink at home. At our age, we don't have many years left to live. I can't help you. Mrs. Huo suppressed the anger in her heart and didn't want to continue talking to this person. She was just a lump in the tree. Seeing that her mother-in-law was unwilling to come forward, Song Chunli did not dare to mention it to her husband and father-in-law, so she approached Zhao Huan and Huo Yingjun. I read the contract. Tian only gave me 10% and Huan 10%. It's too little. We don't have the right to operate the business yet. It's not cost-effective, Song Chunli said. Huan, you and Tian have a good relationship. Go and talk to her, please. Yingjun, go and tell Yingji to get more, you can't live in poverty all your life. Zhao Huan's scalp was numb, knowing that her mother-in-law would be like this. Whenever possible, grandma would also lend a word. But her grandmother didn't say anything, and her mother-in-law came to her and made her feel like sitting on pins and needles. Zhao Huan couldn't do such a shameless thing. As agreed before, 40,000 yuan for one share, if she can accept it, then she will accept it. It's okay not to run a business, don't worry, anyway, the second uncle's family won't cheat them. He Tian doesn't let her mother-in-law participate in the business, probably because she is on guard against her. Comparing her character, the second wife's character is indeed better than that of her mother-in-law. Fortunately, her husband Huo Yingjun was by her side, so she didn't have to face it alone. She lowered her head and was fed by the child without speaking. Huo Yingjun was very surprised. He took several deep breaths before he regained his composure and said, "Mom, I think 20% of the shares is quite a lot." One sentence almost made Song Chunli extremely angry. "You're a prodigal," Song Chunli said, patting her son on the head, "then it's a total of 100%. I'll give you 20%. Are you willing?" "What's there to be unhappy about?" Huo Yingjun said, "They don't get a 10% share, but we don't get a 10% share. It was originally meant to win over our eldest family, for the good of our eldest family, but you dislike me like this. Second uncle, the second aunt and the second brother and sister will feel so sad when they find out." "You damn kid, I'm not doing this just for you." Song Chunli's eyes were red. Her mother-in-law didn't understand, men didn't understand, and her son didn't understand her either. What did she become after working so hard? Seeing his mother crying, Huo Yingjun also felt a little ashamed. What he just said made his mother sad. "Mom, if you want more shares and you have money, you can open your own shop," Huo Yingjun said. "In this way, don't you have 100% of the shares? You think I don't want to do business? If your father wants to take a further step in his official career, I can't do business." Song Chunli said. "He Tian spent 5 million to open a shop in one go. Let's scrape everything together, it's only tens of thousands of yuan, how can we compare it in the future?" "Mom, you can't think like that. I have worked abroad. I know that the second brother and sister's grandmother has assets of 7 to 8 billion US dollars on the surface, but I don't know how much she has secretly. The second brother and sister may not get it. There must be a lot of property, fixed assets, or money there, no less than 200 million. Even if we do business for a few lifetimes, we still won't be able to catch up with them," Huo Yingjun explained, hoping to convince his mother. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 830. 828. Song Chunli felt better after hearing her son's words. Song Chunli is now in a very typical psychological state of people from the H country. If her second roommate has more money than them, she will be envious or even jealous, but if her second roommate has more money than she can exceed in her life, she will not be jealous. No more, only envy is left. Seeing that his mother's expression was relaxed, Huo Yingjun continued to persuade her, hoping to untie her mother's knot and not harm the relationship between the two families. "Moreover, Mom, we are in the official career, and money is enough for us. We don't need too much. The circle around us will not laugh at us because we have no money, but will laugh at us because we have no hope of a career," Huo Yingjun said. This is fundamental. If he wanted to make money, he would have gone into business long ago. Why wait until now? This is not his ambition. Zhao Huan also nodded and said, "Yes, you don't know how many people outside are envious of you. Anyway, every time I go back to my parents' home, my mother will say that my father-in-law and Yingjun have a stable career, and they will rise to the top in the future. They are extremely envious. As family members, we also have it on our faces. Oh, in ancient times, a husband was more valuable than a wife, and a mother was more valuable than her children. No matter where we go, people have to respect us." It was rare for Zhao Huan to think of such words to comfort her mother-in-law and improve her eloquence. Although Zhao Huan looked down upon her mother-in-law's actions, her mother-in-law also did this for the sake of a bigger house. The starting point is good, but the means are not very good, and it is too greedy. "Mom, my son will be a good filial piety from now on. Regarding this business, after all, the second brother and sister want our family to make money, so they gave us shares at a cheap price. 40,000 yuan, we think it is a lot, but in the eyes of the second brother and sister, it is not at all its money, so let's stop making trouble. She just wants to buy it in front of grandma, and it will also benefit us. Huo Yingjun continued to persuade, we have a job, and these 2 dividends are more than enough to support our family. Too much money is not a good thing for a family like ours. Song Chunli saw her son say this. After a while, she sighed and said, hey, since you don't fight, what's the point of me fighting anymore? Huan, if you have time, give the money to your second younger brother and sister, and then go and get the money, bring the contract and sign it. Let's settle this matter as soon as possible. I don't want to delay it. After hearing this, Zhao Huan nodded and said, yes, Mom. It would be better for my mother-in-law not to go, to avoid embarrassment. Although her mother-in-law was unreasonable, she was an elder after all, so Zhao Huan was afraid that her mother-in-law would rely on her old age and act like an old woman, which would offend her second aunt and her family. Mom, you have worked hard today, so you should rest early, Huo Yingjun said. After you have a good rest, you won't think about these messy things. Song Chunli knew that everyone disapproved of it, and she was tired. Forget it, she didn't want to think about these things anymore. Okay, then I'm going back, Song Chunli said, standing up. Huo Yingjun stepped forward and helped Song Chunli to the bedroom. When Huo Yingjun came back and saw his wife, he was quite dumbfounded and said, Huan, when you go to send the money, apologize to the second aunt and the second brother and sister. With the second aunt, the second brother, the second brother and the second brother to our mother, I understand and won't complain. I understand, Zhao Huan nodded, expressing understanding. Hey, Mom is confused, we can't be confused. The second brother and sister are a capable person. With 20% of the shares, we will probably be able to get more than 10 or 200,000 by the end of the year, Huo Yingjun said, and the 20% mentioned there is also a result of thoughtful. If that wasn't my real mother, I'd hate it. Haha, I know it well, Zhao Huan said, my mother-in-law is actually doing it for you, but she is a little eager for quick success. Many times, if you insist on asking someone for something, they will not be willing to give it to you. If you don't want it, others will not forget your kindness. Portion, and more will be given. Yes, fortunately, I have a sensible grandmother above me and a smart daughter-in-law below. Otherwise, my mother would have offended all the people in the second uncle's family, Huo Yingjun said with a wry smile. Her mother often talked about the second uncle's family in front of her. No, his father often told him how good his second uncle's family was. He is an adult and has his own judgment. Compared with those brothers who only live in a nest, the second uncle's family works hard outside, and it is not easy for them to achieve their current achievements. Father was right, the second uncle was worthy of their big house. If they are dissatisfied, they are acting unconscionably. As Huo Yingjun grew older and promoted his official position, he also learned some of the secrets of the Huo family. 70% of the Huo family's resources were used on him and his father, while his second uncle and Yingja used less than 30%. If this is not enough, what else can you do? Haha, that's good if you know, Zhao Huan smiled. Now she gave way to her mother-in-law, and her husband was no longer in a dilemma like before. He also took the initiative to consider her, and her mother-in-law also made some changes. That's it, pretty good. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon the next day, Zhao Huan changed her shift and took her family's 80,000 yuan to come over with Huo Yingjun. In front of the second aunt, Zhao Huan gave the money to He Tian and said, "Thank you for your hard work, second sister." "It's not hard, we are a family," He Tian said, "don't worry, I will let you see satisfactory profits by the end of the year." Huo Yingjun smiled and said, "We believe in my second brother and sister. Don't take it to heart when my mother made those requests before. We also tried to persuade her at home before, even my grandmother said it, but my mother just didn't listen." Second aunt, the second brother and sister have been wronged. Haha, Zhang Lifang smiled, my sister-in-law is just like that. She doesn't have any bad intentions, but sometimes she just can't get around. I have been sisters-in-law with her for more than 30 years and know her very well, so I am not angry. On the contrary. You too, please say good things to us and advise us in front of your mother. After all, we are a family, and everything goes well with our family. We have the strength to go out together and don't have any discord at home. Yeah, what the second aunt said is true. Thank you for your understanding, Huo Yingjun said. Oh, talking to the second aunt is like talking to your grandmother. You have a strong sense of the overall situation and you can't help but admire me. Haha, Zhang Lifang laughed, you kid, you only know how to make the second aunt happy. I can't compare to my mother-in-law, who is a very shrewd old man. If there is an old man in the family, if there is a treasure, if something big happens, you and I will second uncle, you have to ask your mother-in-law for advice. Hearing what the second aunt said, Zhao Huan was in awe. Sometimes Zhao Huan feels that her grandmother's words are unpleasant and too direct, but now that she thinks about it, everyone who can listen will benefit. Even her confused mother-in-law listened to her grandmother in everything, so she didn't cause any trouble. Zhao Huan thought about the easing of the relationship between her and her mother-in-law, and also attributed her grandmother's contribution. The second aunt is right, if there is an old man in the family, it is like having a treasure, not to mention the two treasures of grandfather and grandmother in the family. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 831. 829. Huo Yingjun and Zhang Lifang were having a great time talking, while Zhao Huan and He Tian were also whispering to each other. When Huo Yingji came back from get off work, the children who were playing in the yard ran to their father and asked him to hug them. They were very lively and cute. As a father, he could not show disdain in the face of the children's enthusiasm. He could only hold two children in each hand and play with them. The food has been good recently, and the children have gained weight. Brother, sister-in-law, you are here too, Huo Yingji said. I just bought roast duck and made a few more dishes. Let's have a good drink in the evening. No, I have to ride my bike back home, so I can't drink. Huo Yingjun waved his hand and said that he was determined not to drink. What are you afraid of? I'll ask Zhang Ning to take you and your sister-in-law away later, Huo Yingji said. The elders were all here yesterday, so we didn't have a chance to talk. Today, it's just the two of us brothers. You're embarrassed not to drink. Hearing this, Huo Yingjun was moved and said, okay, I'll drink a few more glasses and reminisce about the past. I want to hear your opinion, brother. Well, let's go to the study to talk, Huo Yingji said. Mom, Tian, you've worked hard, let's have a delicious breakfast. Go ahead, talk about business, Zhang Lifang said. Tian, you talk to Huan, I'll go cook. Mom, you don't have to go, He Tian said, I've prepared everything, just fry it in a while. Sit down first, I'll go cut the watermelon to cool down, and then have dinner. That's fine, Zhang Lifang said, smiling at the three children in the yard. At this time, Huo Ruxiang ran over with sweat on his forehead and said, Mom, can I live in my second grandmother's house? I want to play with my younger brothers and sisters, Huo Ruxiang said, there are many toys here. Zhao Huan smiled and said, we also have a lot of toys at home, and we also have a younger brother at home. That younger brother is too young, he only knows how to cry, it's not fun, Huo Ruxiang said, the younger brothers and sisters here are fun, and they play with toys with me. Zhang Lifang smiled and said, Huan, why don't you leave the children here? Ruwa and Ruiman's beds are very big, There is no problem sleeping with 3 children. Will it bother you? Zhao Huan was a little embarrassed. Huo Ruxiang was 7 or 8 years old, just the age of being naughty, especially naughty. Mom, I'm very good, I'm not naughty, Huo Ruxiang said. I will never bully my younger brothers and sisters. Sister-in-law, you can leave them here. Children like to play together. Ruxiang is here, and the 2 children don't need us to watch them. They play in the yard and the toy room by themselves, He Tian said. They will probably settle in Yanjing in the future. It's always good for children to spend more time together. Zhao Huan smiled and said, okay, I'll have a light day, so I don't have to coax the little one to sleep and the big one to sleep. I'll send the clothes over tomorrow morning, and you can just wear a small vest tonight. Don't worry about the clothes. My mother accidentally sent the pajamas and summer clothes she sold to my brother some time ago. Ruxiang should be able to wear them, He Tian said. The child wanted to stay, and she couldn't just say nothing. Okay, then stay here. The child is usually very naughty at home. The 4 elders at home spoil him. Let him play with Ruwa and Ruimin more, and let him, as a brother, have a stronger sense of responsibility. Zhao Huan said that for a family like the Huo family, boys need to be responsible and have a sense of responsibility and a sense of the overall situation. Let's talk about it. Huo Yingjie and Huo Yingjun went to the study. He Tian cut the watermelon and sent it to them. Thank you, second brother and sister-in-law, Huo Yingjun said. You've worked hard. Big brother, you're polite. It's my duty, He Tian smiled. Eat some watermelon first. The food will be ready in a while. It's estimated that we can have dinner in half an hour. Okay, Huo Yingjie smiled. You've worked hard. After He Tian went out, Huo Yingjie said, Big brother, eat watermelon, let's talk while eating. Okay, Huo Yingjun took a piece of watermelon and took a bite. Second brother, is your work going well? Smoothly, Huo Yingjie said. It's not difficult. It's very simple to do those things. That's good, Huo Jun smiled. If it's other things, I might be able to help you, but I don't know anything about scientific research. My science grades were not good back then. Haha, but you are good at liberal arts, Huo Yingjie said. The Huo family will still need you to support the family in the future. Most of the work I do is confidential and cannot be made public. Only people in a circle know about it. In fact, my second brother, you are so smart, even Grandpa said that your consciousness is the best in our Huo family. Why don't you go into politics? Huo Yingjun asked puzzledly. If he went into politics, his second brother might be able to achieve a position that he dared not think of in his life. Huo Yingjie smiled and waved his hand, saying, hey, so many people in my family are in politics, so I won't join in the fun. Besides, I don't like the atmosphere of intrigue. Although there are some in scientific research, after all, everyone speaks with real ability, and I still prefer such an atmosphere. Besides, I know so many secrets, and I am such a great researcher. Do you think the relevant departments will let go of such a good talent? Haha, I'm glad you like it, Huo Yingjun said. I will work hard in the future, and we brothers will support each other. I heard from my grandfather that if your research results are made public, you may win the famous Nobel Prize. Don't you think it's a pity? It doesn't matter, Huo Yingjie said, those are just fame and fortune. I don't care about these things, and I don't need these things to change my life, so it's not a pity. It's a pity. As countryman, I should do my part. Force. My second brother is very enlightened, Huo Yingjun said. Before, Grandpa was worried about your unwillingness and unstable mentality. After I go back today, I can talk to him and tell him not to worry. Then please leave it to eldest brother, Huo Yingjie said. Now that we have moved out, my grandfather, grandmother, uncle, aunt, and you and sister-in-law have taken a lot of trouble. Old people, you have experienced ups and downs in your life. It's not easy, we are the juniors, if we don't have conflicts, and the whole family is harmonious, then they will be happy. Who says it's not the case? Huo Yingjun said, fortunately, my second aunt, Tian Tian, doesn't care about my mother, otherwise I wouldn't be able to show my face. Haha, auntie is not a bad person, we all know that, Huo Yingji said, I don't even care. Because they all know that those are Song Chunli's thoughts and attitudes alone and do not represent anyone else's, so there is no need to offend everyone in the big house because of Song Chunli. That's good, Huo Yingjun said, I'm at work. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 832. 830. With his brother, Huo Yingjun didn't hide it, he talked about some difficulties and wanted to hear Huo Yingji's advice. After hearing this, Huo Yingji could always give reasonable suggestions, which made Huo Yingjun suddenly enlightened. Huo Yingjun once told his father about these things, but although his father's advice was good, it was mediocre and lackluster in effect. However, Huo Yingji's suggestions always hit the mark. As long as you make some small changes, you will get twice the result with half the effort. No wonder my grandfather and father always praised the second brother. It would be a pity not to pursue an official career. Zhang Lifang took care of the children, and Zhao Huan helped He Tian Tian cook together. After about 35 minutes, the meal was ready and the children came to call Huo Yingji and Huo Yingjun to eat. During dinner, Huo Yingji and Huo Yingjun drank a lot of wine, and their relationship became closer. At night, Huo Yingji told people to send Huo Yingjun and his wife to their old house, and the child stayed. Over there, He Tian Tian bathed the three children half an hour after the meal, put them into clean pajamas, and put them on the big bed. Tell stories, Mom tells stories, Huo Ruimin urged. Ruimin listens to the story. What story? Huo Ruxiang asked, is the story good to hear? Of course it sounds good, Mom, tell it quickly, Huo Ruimin said. If Mom doesn't tell stories, Ruimin won't sleep. Sun Ruwa also held a small pillow, waiting for his mother to tell stories. Okay, today we will tell a new story, Calabash Baby. He Tian Tian stood up and went to get a little book from the bookshelf. Come on, everyone, lie down and start listening to the story. The three children lay down with small quilts covering their bellies. Mom, tell me quickly, Huo Ruimin said. Calabash Baby, I want to listen. He Tian Tian sat by the bed, leaning on the back of the big bed, and said in a soft voice, once upon a time, an old man lived on the mountain, and he planted gourd seeds at the foot of the mountain. Huo Ruxiang, Huo Ruimin, and Huo Ruwa were a little excited today, but after He Tian Tian read about 10 pages, he fell asleep. Huo Ruxiang was also confused. Xiang is sleeping, and we will listen again tomorrow, He Tian Tian said softly, and kissed Huo Ruxiang and the twins on their foreheads. Then they put a small quilt on their belly and made a shield on the side to prevent the child from falling, and then walked out of the mosquito net. Huo Yingji was already waiting on the big bed not far away, holding a book in his hand and reading it very seriously. It's just that the book was taken down. Haha, if you don't want to read it, then don't read it. I've even knocked down the book, so I'm not afraid of embarrassment, He Tian Tian muttered, grabbing the book from Huo Yingji's hand. I said, why can't I read it smoothly? It turns out that I took it upside down. Huo Yingji smiled and said, I drank too much today and my head feels dizzy. I'm drunk. After saying that, he pounced on He Tian Tian like a scoundrel and rubbed his head against the softness of He Tianation's chest. He Tian Tian couldn't laugh or cry. Any drunk person who says he is drunk always says, I'm not drunk, I'm not drunk. Open it, He Tian Tian said angrily, it smells like alcohol. Huo Yingji let out a breath and said, it's a little bit, but not heavy. I brushed my teeth several times. Come on, sweet, little Jiao Xiao, stay with me. From the strength of Huo Yingjia's hand, you can feel his excitement and desire. There is no way to escape today, so we can only continue to let him. Child. He Tian reminded a little anxiously. Huo Yingjia waved his hand and the child fell asleep, and there was a barrier outside. It was the right time to come to Yanjing this time. In the morning, He Tian was awakened by the sound of children talking. Brother, sister, and aunt often tell stories, Huo Ruxiang asked hopefully. His mother and father were both very busy. Maybe his great-grandfather would tell him stories during the day, but not at night. Moreover, my great-grandfather's stories were not exciting and his voice was not pleasant. Yeah, we listen to stories every day, Huo Ruimin said. Mom has told us the story of Sun Monkey before, and in Neza's mind, I like Snow White the most. I like Havoc in Heaven. Huo Ruwa said, brother, please don't leave. If you stay at our house, you can listen to Mom telling stories. Yes, brother, I will give you toys and delicious food, Huo Ruimin also said. Hearing these words, He Tian couldn't help but smile. It turned out that she was trying to save her little brother. Good morning, little darlings, He Tian smiled. Did you sleep well at night? Good morning, Mom, Huo Ruimin said. We slept well at night. I dreamed about the calabash baby. He Tian was speechless. Can he remember his dream at such a young age? He Tian can't remember what happened when she was a child, so she can't judge. Yeah, come on, Mom, Auntie will help you get dressed, He Tian said. Let's go to the yard to do morning exercises together. Let's do morning exercises, the child cheered. Although Huo Ruxiang didn't know what morning exercises were, he was infected by the joy of his younger siblings. He got dressed and ran out. In the yard, Zhang Lifang and Grandma Wang were doing a soft boxing technique. Come on, brother, let's box together, Huo Ruimin said, and followed her grandmother's rhythm. But I can't. Huo Ruxiang smiled awkwardly, a little envious. Oh, my sister just made a big tiger gesture, and my brother made a mantis gesture. Brother, let's teach you, Huo Ruimin. Huo Ruwa started to be a little teacher. The adults did not interfere and let the children play. About 20 minutes later, He Tian smiled and said, baby, go brush your teeth, wash your face, and eat soon. He Tian has prepared small basins and small toothbrushes for them. Huo Ruxiang is the same as the two children. He is so curious and playful about everything in front of him. On the dinner table, each person has a boiled egg, a glass of milk, a piece of cheesecake, and a small bowl of vegetables. The three little babies sat down and let their mother put a smock on them before they started eating. The three children ate happily, just like little pigs, each one eating sweeter than the other.